So, in an episode a couple of days ago, I was talking about the things that I was fearing in my life, the things that were kind of negative in my life, the internal battles that I've been dealing with on a day to day basis in recent times in my life. This time, I'm going to flip the script. Let's kind of be a little bit more positive about things. Let's talk about things that maybe are more important, more fulfilling to me in my life. So in this episode, I'm going to go over some of the things that I am happy about, the things that truly bring me joy in my life. And really the overarching message of this episode is to say, yeah, there will be problems, there will be difficulties in your life, but you should always look to the things that bring you deep, meaningful joy. Not like the temporary stuff, things that actually sit with you deeply and truly give you many great memories and moments to look back on in your lives. So in this episode, I'm going to go over what that means for me, what it actually looks like for me in my life, instead of being so kind of overwhelmed and in this kind of thought paralysis type of thing, all the issues that I'm dealing with in my own life. Obviously, I made an episode talking about it. Today, I'm going to talk about the good that is in my life right now, what truly brings me joy right now. So, first and foremost, for me, before anything else, I got to mention God, right? I got to mention my faith in Jesus Christ, my Christian faith that I've been developing every single day in my life. Whenever I read the Holy Word, I'm just filled with such peace, such joy, such wisdom. And whenever I'm in a moment of prayer, it's the same types of feelings. Honestly, there's nothing really that's more internally satisfactory than when I'm able to sit there, be vulnerable to God, and truly pour out my heart to Him. It's so beautiful. It's so great. It's the perfect way to start my day, to end my day, and even during my day at times when things happen. There's really no other better feeling than that. And really, it's the joy that Jesus Christ can truly bring in your life. That's basically what I put as the foundation in my life. Everything else around me, it stems from that. It stems from my Christian beliefs, my foundation to try and follow God's will and His teaching, and to emulate Christ in my life. I try my best, even if I fall short. That's where my foundation lies, and that's where the true joy, peace, and love that He brings in my life is seen when I'm actually thinking about God, when I'm actually participating, right? When I go to church, it's always, even if like the mass isn't the greatest, just when I sit there and look at all the beauty that is around me in the actual building, even that is a great joy in that. And obviously, if there's like a good sermon, a good mass, and a great lesson in the teaching that the priest or the pastor, whatever, talk about, then that's also a very beautiful thing. So any way that I can connect closer with God brings me deep joy. It really truly does. It keeps me kind of centered. It keeps me in a positive, reflective moment, knowing that even if things go wrong, even if I make mistakes, like God will be there with me no matter what. That's a great peaceful thing. And of course, Jesus Christ, He is the Prince of Peace. So He's the one that spreads peace. He's the one that spreads love. And I honestly, the only reason I talk about it is because I invite you to go and experience that joy for yourself, because for me it's been something so good. Even in the difficult moments of my life, I can sit there, I can pray, and I can truly get that joy out of it, and that knowledge, the remembrance of just how much God loves me, and God loves all of us truly. And that's why I talk about it on the show, and that's why it's very prevalent for me. It's something that I make sure to hammer home, that point, that's the main point of the show. But that is the thing first and foremost that brings me joy over anything else. Even in tough moments when my life is not very good, right? I've had moments even on this show. You've seen some of my rhetoric in some episodes where I'm talking about certain things in my life. No matter what, my belief in Jesus Christ is what brings me the most joy every single day, no matter where I'm at in other aspects of my life. So that comes first, right? And actually, in all honesty, when I think about like the other things, the surrounding things, like the things I'm actually doing in my life, the physical things, I look at it, it's like there's actually not that much that brings me deep joy. And so maybe I have to explore a little bit, find things that truly bring me joy. Like sports and stuff, I always enjoy, I always have fun. Like even if the World Cups had all sorts of controversies and things that I personally don't really like, maybe I'll make a video talking about it in the future, obviously as the tournament continues to go on. The actual football entertainment's been pretty good, and I've been enjoying watching some of the games that have been on TV, and some of the narratives, the stories surrounding it have been very good. So I can't complain about that. But I think maybe the joy that I once had in football is maybe just a little bit less, because of the fact that I've been going through a lot when it comes to my whole football journey, all of the grindy days, all of the late nights, and the very like difficult feeling, the pushing myself physically, all that stuff. like the competitive nature that I have. It's kind of drained me a little bit when it comes to like the overall. Like I'm honestly a little bit drained when it comes to football right now. But like, so I wouldn't say like it's the thing that gives me joy, but it's still fun. It's still cool. Obviously, I'm watching baseball. For baseball, it's kind of pretty simple. Like if the games are entertaining, if the Blue Jays are winning, great. Like I'm having a good time. But if they're not winning, it's like it's not as fun. But I enjoy playing it. I enjoy playing it like sporadically just for fun. Like when it is just for fun, whether football, whether baseball, whether whatever other sport, I enjoy it. And I think it's cool. I think if I were to say something that brings me joy, it's definitely doing things. It's definitely playing things, right? Like for example, like the thing that brings me most joy always is deep, meaningful time spent with my closest family and friends. Of course, that should be the thing that gives you joy in your life, right? But what I'd say is that there's no joy in like sitting there watching a movie together. There's no joy in sitting there watching a Netflix show together. We had this thing, me and my family, where we were watching Doctor House series for a little bit. Like that was cool, but like that's not, I don't think that's really like bonding time, I'd say. So when you're just sitting there, you're consuming something, even if you're doing it with other people, I personally, it's just me, like I personally don't find joy in that. I don't find any meaning really in that. I find joy when you're actually doing things. So when you're at the beach, when you're playing sports, when you're just out there being active, doing different things, when you're playing games, like I was playing poker with my friends on the Niagara trip, that was amazing. Like that was such great memories, great fun times. Like when you're actually playing games, when you're actually interacting in some way, that is quality time. That is what spending quality time with your family and friends means. It could also mean like even like deep conversations where you're talking about things about life and all types of things. I've had many amazing connections with people just because we managed to get into some deep conversation about literally like life and the world, and even religious topics sometimes come up. And that's also just a very good bonding moment. That's also something that fills me with deep joy, because it's like I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of an intellectual guy. I think a lot. I mean, that's sometimes my problem. I think a little bit too much about things, but when I have someone where I can bounce these ideas off of, that's also an amazing moment. Those moments, those deep conversations bring me a lot of joy as well. Like I remember times like last year where some of my closest friends in Portugal, we would have these exact conversations till like 2 in the morning, and that was so cool. Like right before I was about to leave to go to Spain, I was staying in like a airport hotel for like a couple days while I was transitioning from my actual like actual apartment that I was in Portugal to then moving all my stuff and then actually going to Spain. So there were like a couple of days, like awkward days in between. So I had to go to the hotel. Like my friends over there, they actually came to the hotel and we had one of these huge, deep, amazing conversations. And I remember that and I look back on that and I remember that feeling I had back then where it was like it was just such a fiery feeling where I was like, this was amazing, right? Like it was just that simple. This is amazing. So when I look at things that bring me joy, it's that. It's quality time with the people you love, actually doing things, participating in a thing where you're actually moving, whether it's an active thing or you're playing poker, you're playing games, and also having deep conversations as well is included in that. I think like actually consuming stuff is not a part of that at all ever. And sometimes you can maybe consume something comedic, like I've been watching some funny videos, like they make you laugh. Like sure, you laugh for a little bit, but then it's the same thing. Like you feel kind of mentally drained a little bit because you've been scrolling or you've been in the YouTube rabbit hole, whatever that thing may be. It's not fulfilling, right? It doesn't fill me, at least not with me. Even if I laugh at things, it doesn't fill me with joy. What fills me with joy is in-person time, and I think that's not a coincidence because as humans we're social creatures. So it makes a lot of sense that for me that's what I would look at. I wouldn't look at the consuming of things. I'd look at the actual doing of things, especially with people that I love. That brings me good joy. So whether it is football, whether it is baseball, whether it is anything else, really, it's just great time spent with people. And what also brings me joy, like I'm just kind of trying to think, like video games. I don't really play a lot of video games anymore, man. I must be honest. Like I very rarely play video games anymore. Like that's the truth. Like there was a time where actually yeah, like I'd be having late night Minecraft or Roblox or even Fortnite when OG Fortnite came back sessions with some of my closest friends. Those were actually very amazing moments because especially because I was in Portugal, it gave me a chance to connect with the people on the other side of the ocean. to keep the connections alive, playing the games. That was fun. Those were like the peak moments back then. But I feel like now it's kind of not the same anymore. So I don't really play games. I don't like playing games by myself. Like, definitely doesn't fill me with any level of joy at all. Like, it kind of like the scrolling is just kind of the cheap dopamine. That's kind of how I'm starting to feel about it. But when you're playing with friends, I think it's still good. And if you have that moment where you're playing a nice fun game with friends, I think it is also a very fun time. I can look back on my life the memories I've shared with many amazing people because of games, right? So I look at that. When it comes to video games, sure, I'd say throughout my life I've been playing a lot of video games, but right now it's really not the case, right? It's really not the case. So joy from spending time with the people around me, joy from doing things, from actions, from actually doing fun things rather than just consuming things, and of course joy in my faith, of course, as well. That's where I would find joy from. And I'd also say, like, right now I actually quite enjoy the coaching that I'm doing, where I'm in the environment, spending time with these guys that I'm trying to coach, trying to teach, trying to learn about them so that I can help them grow. Like, I think teaching others, serving others, that also is like a very important thing because it makes you feel like you're actually contributing something. And that's probably why I enjoy it. I enjoy being there in that environment, in that coaching environment type of thing with these guys, and it's cool. It's cool. So I think I look at that, and that brings me pretty good joy as well. So I'm very glad that most likely I'm still getting through my coaching courses and all that kind of stuff. Most likely I'll be able to spend the summer where I'm coaching these guys. I'm learning myself as a coach, and I'm also trying to teach them some things. That also brings me a lot of joy as well. When I'm helping others, when I'm serving others, when I'm teaching others things, that's good. So that's why, like, I also find a good amount of joy from this show at times. Sometimes I have to make an episode just to get it out there. It's a little bit tedious. Other times I'm talking about some negative topics and it's not very good. But when I'm talking about like good stuff, and the more you talk about it, the more you're changing your own mental state. When you're talking about good things, you're changing your own mental state to feel better about yourself, right? And I'm doing that right now as I'm speaking on the show. So that's why sometimes this show also gives me great joy, because gives me an opportunity to talk about things that mean a lot to me. It gives me an opportunity to potentially teach people certain things, teach people words of the kingdom, for example, as well. The kingdom of God, spread those words as well as often as I can through what I'm saying on the show. It's good. I think at times it kind of wavers. Like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I think at times it is good. Like, for example, like this episode, like, I'm feeling good. Just talking about the things that bring me joy gives me joy, right? Just in and of itself. So that's great. And I enjoy that. So the point really I'm trying to make by doing this is that's like, I look at my life and I look at the things that bring me joy. My duty is to lean into those things to live a more joyful life. I think it's pretty obvious to say, but sometimes life kind of takes over. Sometimes you have a job you don't like. I've gone through it, right? And that's taking up a lot of your time. That's taking up a lot of your headspace, right? Sometimes you're dealing with people that you don't like, and you're not actually focused on the good things. You're focused on the bad things because emotions are heightened. I've definitely felt those feelings throughout my life for sure. Just in the last few months, like not even like years and years ago. No, like in the last couple months, recent times. If you've been watching the show during those times, you would remember some of the rhetoric I was talking about. Some very negative stuff. Some very, like, I'd throw the word depressed out there. I'm not a depressed person. Like, I don't have depression, but I was in a depressed moment because of the things I was dealing with. So so always remembering the things that make me joyful, that bring me joy, and leaning more into those things will help me do better. So honestly, like, I'm kind of just developing this idea right now, but like that's what you got to do, right? When you're going through a tough time in your life, lean into those things that truly bring you joy. Again, not the cheap stuff, right? Try and avoid that cheap stuff, the consuming content, the video games, those kind of things. Find the things that truly bring you joy. Whether you're an artsy person, you find joy from painting, or you find joy from writing, or even reading, that's fine. Lean into that. Spend as much time as possible doing those things, because that's what will help you, especially will help you during your difficult moments, to find the joy, the diamond in the rough, let's say, right? The calm in the storm. And it will help you kind of balance yourself a little bit. Because, yeah, sometimes if you're just going through tough time, you can burn out. And that's absolutely true if you do that for long enough time, right? So find the things that truly bring you joy. And when I think about the things that bring me joy, I'm like, yeah, Like, that makes sense. Whenever I'm doing these things, I'm not worried about the other things in my life. I'm focused on the fun moment that comes from them, comes from those things, comes from just me spending time with people, developing my faith, of course, doing things that I enjoy. Like, I think that's really amazing. I think that is really, really good. And for example, when I went to Niagara, it was a great trip because the whole time we were spending quality time with friends, we were doing fun things, and we of course were in the Airbnb and we played poker till like 4 in the morning. But we were laughing, we were having great times. Like, those are the moments that you cherish for the rest of your life. Those are the moments that you want to repeat and make happen again and again. So you're creating new memories every single day. So that even in the tough moments, you can always look back on the things that bring you great joy, to lean on that, to live a joyful life, to live a peaceful life. So that's kind of the lesson. That's kind of the reason why I'm talking about these things. This is also for me. Of course, it's for me. It's me trying to remember what really brings me joy in my life and lean into those things so that I don't have to be so stressed about things. So that the episode I made a couple days ago, I don't have to be so worried about my life and where I'm going to go and that kind of stuff. Because if I trust in God, the things will kind of fall into place the way that His plan has set for me. If I lean into the things that I am joyful of, I don't know why I keep phrasing it like that bring me joy, that will help me in so many amazing ways. So I've just kind of been going over the things that bring me joy. The things that bring you joy will probably be something different. It'll probably be a different set of circumstances, but I imagine like the guideline, for at least for me, it's like, for me, faith is number one, and I think anyone that has a faith finds so much joy from that faith. So even if you're still kind of not really there yet, you're still not so sure about faith, not so sure about Jesus, I say give it a try, because honestly, how much it's helped me in my life. Like, I look at the things I've dealt with in just the last year, and I think if I didn't have faith, where would I be? Like, how much worse off would I be if I didn't have faith keeping me moving forward? And I'm sure there will be even worse things in my life where I'm going to need to rely on my faith even more, and my faith will grow even stronger as a result. So I encourage you to go and dabble into it. Go do some research, open a Bible, read a couple verses. Truly find that joy that is within, because I truly believe it exists, and I truly believe God's joy, God's love is real each and every day. I feel it in my life. I feel it in my heart. So that's why I talk about these things. I encourage you to go and do that, and of course, go spend time with the people you love. That's of course the thing that brings everyone joy. I would hope it brings everybody joy in some way, shape, or form. And then do the things that bring you joy. Those are the things that will differentiate from what I do that brings me joy. Help others, teach others, serve others. Those are things that are common, but like the specific sports that you play, the specific games that you play, the specific ways you spend your time, the specific hobbies you have that bring you joy will be different from what I have, of course. So my message is to just lean into those things, right? Sometimes you got to go through difficulties in life, and that's okay. It's natural, but you don't have to put yourself through necessarily so much forced, unnecessary, over the top level of difficulty, right? If you're going through tough times, you don't have to lean into those and just be in a depressed, negative state the whole time, right? You can go through the tough time and then focus and shift to the things that bring you joy, so you can have some level of balance in your life. You can balance it out, and then getting through tough times will be just so much more easier, right? So lean on the things that bring you joy. That is the main point in my life. And remember, during the tough times are important, because at the end of suffering is great joy, right? I've said that many, many times on this show, again, especially during those times where I was going through the sucking moments, right? The tough times will bring you great joy at the end of it. So you don't want to avoid the difficulty, because the difficulty is beneficial in the long run, but of course, it never feels good, right? So that if you want to live a fruitful life, an abundant life, a fulfilling life, you want to lean into those things that truly bring you joy. Figure out what those things are. I've kind of been talking about the things that bring me joy, and I'm planning on leaning into them more. And that's kind of a personal task that I have to give myself, to lean into those things a little bit more. But I encourage you to go yourself and think about the things that bring you joy and lean into them even more yourself. That's all I got to say for this episode. That is the lesson for today. I'm just talking about the things that bring me joy. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel confident, I guess. It makes me feel up for it, more so than just looking at all the negative stuff. And I encourage you to kind of look at the good as well in your life each and every day. Start with God, start with faith. That is what I say. That's my personal advice. And then, of course, start with faith, serving others, teaching others, spending time with people around you, and then finding the other nuanced things that are specific to you. That's all I got to say for today. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. I appreciate you if you are still here watching it. And of course, I hope that this episode gives you some lesson, gives you some way that you can find more joy out of your life every day. That's all I got to say for today. Please like the video, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify. If you haven't done any of those things yet, I would appreciate it if you showed your support on the show in any way that you can. Thank you for watching this episode of the 365 Podcast. And as always, continue to glorify God every day throughout your life. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.